Well, hello. Hopefully this is coming through okay. But welcome to History Hack. Today I'm just going to trial revising a GCSE topic using Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So I'm just hoping, just checking that everything's kind of been set up okay in the comments. Okay, I've got comments coming through. Entertainment Daily. It's really quiet. Okay, no, this is useful. Okay. Is that any better? Shout out to Entertainment Daily. I'll just hold on. I'll just talk a little bit longer and see. You're welcome. Just see if... okay, thank you very much. We'll just see if the volume is improving. Is this still really quiet? Okay, right. Let me see if it's something on here. So... Is that any better? Any better on the volume? Yeah, the mic's up, thank you very much. I've tried that one. I've not had a problem with this before, so let's just see. Maybe it's something within the game. Is that any better? Probably isn't, that's probably nothing to do with it. Can hear you. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take that, I'm going to trust that. So, I'll just wait. If anyone else can confirm that the volume's alright, then we can work with that then. And we'll start working through what we've got here. Can I give Tom and Seth a shout out? Yes, I can. Absolutely. Okay. Oh, goodness. That's not looking too good. So, hopefully that's working okay and the sound's coming through okay. I'll just talk through what the plan is. This will be quite a quick video really, because the plan is just to introduce some of the key ideas for studying Edexcel's GCSE History course for Crime and Punishment. So the course covers... it's louder, so maybe it's still quiet. Hang on. Okay, is that any better? It is Syndicate. Thank you, Evie. Yes, I've been practicing my climbing lots and lots and lots. I'm not sure, so I'm just going to go with it and hopefully I can edit the sound later if needs be. So, the whole point of this video is it's supposed to be an introduction to a GCSE course. Okay, Entertainment Daily, I'm just gonna go with it because I'm hoping if Mr. Williams can confirm that this is loud enough, I'll roll with that because it's just taking a bit longer to speed up. So, the GCSE exam for Paper 1 for Edexcel is on the 18th of May, and it's on Crime and Punishment. Now, Crime and Punishment as a topic covers just over 1,000 years. It starts in the year 1000. Oh, okay, we think it's the speakers. Potentially. Oh, maybe it is then, maybe. It starts in the year 1000, just as England is about to experience something called the Norman Conquest, where the Normans take over England. And it ends in the modern day, so it ends basically in 2023 for our purposes, for this year at least. There are 4 key questions to consider when we're thinking about crime and punishment over this period, and the way I've tried to set this up is in the top comment I've pinned a document that should be downloadable. Let's make sure we don't mess this bit up. Okay, right, here we go. So I've pinned in the comments a document that can be downloaded, and if you download it to make it your own so that you can edit it, you'll see that there's a table, and across the table there are a list of columns. One of the columns says key questions, and then each column is dedicated or allocated to one of the units of the course. There's medieval England, which covers 1000 to 1500. There's early modern England, which covers 1500 to 1700. There is the 18th and 19th centuries, which covers 1700 to 1900, and then we have modern day England, which covers 1900 to the present day. And over coming videos, we'll spend at least one video in each unit, just to kind of recap and to consider some of the key themes within each period. But today we just want to introduce some of the key ideas, and there are 4 questions. Yeah, maybe I am. What we'll do, just so we've got something to kind of do here, I've got a few viewpoints, like basically towers, that I need to climb to make more sense of the map. So we'll do that. So we'll aim up for this one, and we'll go from there. So, oh, this is one of the gimmicks from this one, isn't it? They've given this this cable, which helps you to get across a bit quicker. Okay. So, there are 4 key questions that if you can get if you can come up with an answer to each, should help you understand the course in greater detail. They should be able to frame your revision. So if you have access to the document that I've pinned or that's in the description for this video, you'll see the first column along the left says key questions, and then there are 4 boxes underneath. It'd be a good idea to write down or to think about what each key question is, because once that's filled in, over coming videos when we think about further periods or we think about the other units in the course, we can start trying to answer these questions. And as I say, if you've got a good handle of what these questions are, you'll almost naturally have a good understanding of what's happening in the course anyway. So, the first key question that we have to consider when we think about crime and punishment is essentially... I'm just seeing a comment, do we have to do the work? You don't have to do the work. I just want to see if this works, really. I mean, if you can do it, absolutely, it will help you. And if you are in a year 10 or 11 listening to this, it's definitely worth your while completing the table, because over coming lessons or coming videos, it will help. But don't worry about that today. If you're just kind of helping me test this out, don't stress, alright? Don't worry. Not that you are, of course. But the first key question we need to think about when we think about crime and punishment is basically who decides what the law is. As we'll see when we think about question 2 in a moment, essentially a crime is dictated by whoever is in charge, whoever has the authority to determine what the law is. So whoever's in charge or whoever has the authority to make the law naturally has a large, heavy amount of influence over what the law is, and therefore what crimes are even crimes, or what actions count as crimes in a given period. If you think about medieval England, well, if we think about who decided what the law was then, so who had the authority to determine, really... Oh, where's the... I could do with a little... There we go. Who is in charge and who could determine what a crime was? Well, in medieval England, it was largely... Well, it was the king or the queen. They were under the heavy influence of the church at the time, but it was generally the king or the queen at the time would determine what the law was, and as a result, they would determine what counted as a crime and what didn't count as a crime. And in medieval England, which is a super interesting period for thinking of who decides the law, there was a successful invasion of Britain by the Normans, meaning there was a change in king, meaning there was a whole new set of laws passed, ideas being introduced, things, some of which have kind of carried on even to the modern day in lots of ways. But the change in king when William the Conqueror becomes king in 1066 has a huge influence on crime and punishment in England at that time. Now, I'm just conscious, I tend to speak quite quickly anyway. If you do have any questions about anything linked to anything that's been spoken about, or I'm going to say anything generally, but I don't know if that's a good idea, then please do say. I'm also very aware that school day is nearly about to finish, which is absolutely fine. So, first key question is, who decides what the law is? Whoever has a say or whoever decides what the law is can ultimately define crime in a given period. So that's key question number 1. Key question number 2 flows naturally from that, and that is basically what types of crime were prominent in a given era or given period. What types of crime were evident in different times in England over the last 1,000 years. Different things have counted as a crime. It's been dictated by whoever's in charge, but it's also worth thinking a little bit about what examples of crimes have changed over time also. For example, it used to be illegal in the UK to practice homosexual activity or to be a homosexual. That is no longer illegal. In the 1960s, that was decriminalised, and now it is not illegal. to practice homosexual activity or be a homosexual as it had been in the past. At different times in different places, whoever's in charge, they introduce a law that changes whether a certain action is a crime or not. That's just one example. A lot of the time in medieval England, just to come up with a quick example, the king introduced a whole set of laws around the forests and whether you should use them or whether you shouldn't, deciding that his land should be left alone and that normal peasants, as it were, shouldn't be allowed to use anything that belonged to the king. I'm going to get in trouble if I'm not careful here. I should get a donations box. Well, that's a good idea. Well, maybe I'll work on a donations box, right? But for now, I need to work on my numbers because even though it's been very useful having a little bit of a test here, I need to get some more numbers in. So, what we need to do, actually working forward, is we need to start sharing this more. We need to start sharing the stream so that people can join or that people can subscribe eventually, and I can get more people watching. Which is all, of course, just for your education. You know, I'm here playing PlayStation just for you guys, so it's worth a shout, isn't it? It's worth just flagging that up. But key question 1, who makes the law? Key question 2, who decides, or what is the law? Basically, what types of crime are common in a given era? Key question 3 is all about who enforces the law. The question really is, whose job is it to enforce the law? In modern day England, people automatically, you know, would say that if there's someone's job to enforce the law... Hang on, isn't it supposed to give me the option to synchronise here? Maybe oh, whatever. Let's just go for it. In modern day England, the police are in charge of enforcing the law. So you call the police if there's a crime that's been committed. The police come out, ideally, and they try and help you fix whatever's happened. That wasn't always the case in England. In medieval England and in early modern England, there wasn't a police force. And the community had a lot more responsibility for ensuring that the law was followed. And people had to take ownership themselves. Lots of the time, there wasn't someone you could go and call to help you. So if you saw a crime being committed, you had to join in and help. And there were systems in place in medieval England and early modern England to help with that, which we'll look at when we look at each unit in detail. Let me just run away from these because they're going to get super annoying. Because I don't actually have the kit or the skills to be in this area, so that was a bit silly, wasn't it? And so that's the third question, who enforces the law? And the final question that if you can get your head around and you can come up with an answer for each period would really help you in terms of your revision and understanding is, how do you punish people who break the law? How are criminals actually punished? That's the next thing that people need to think about. So, today the harshest punishment you can receive is life imprisonment. It's not always been the case. There have been much harsher punishments in Britain before. Lots of which included the death penalty or corporal punishment, which means physical punishment, so whipping people, putting them in the stocks. This has changed dramatically over the last 100 years especially. So when you get to Unit 4 and we consider that in further detail, we'll spend some time thinking about how the death penalty was abolished or how it was finished, and we'll work through that in more detail. But those are the 4 questions. Who decides what the law is? What was the law in a given period, or what types of crime were more common or prominent in a certain period? How is the law enforced? And how do you punish people who break the law? If you get those in mind, and if you can keep those in mind, that will really help going forward as we look at the other units, and it will help you with your revision massively. Right, we've got a problem here. So, in coming videos and coming streams, I'll have a look at that. Please don't forget, if you're interested in this topic or you are revising this topic, it is worth subscribing and it is worth hitting the notification bell, because when I put up another video, it'll give you access to whatever we've discussed, and then you can watch it in your own time, and you could complete the table or the revision notes that I'll be putting up alongside it, just because exam season is upon us. The more that we can kind of cram in now, the better, and if we can do it in a slightly more engaging way, playing video games and leaving comments and answering questions, then we'll do that. Okay, so that's all. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Please do. It helps, I think, with access and with exposure if you like the video, if you've liked it, of course. But I'll leave this here. I'm going to stop this stream and I'll put up future streams discussing future units probably later this week. Alright, thanks for watching.